Hello everyone out there in the void, I'm Zach, this is the Shaken Fist, and since it's animated you can tell that I'm still a little feckled and not up to being on video yet. So, since that's the case, I thought I'd pick a low road. So I thought we should talk about Braxton Hunter. It's, because he's really dumb and stupid. If you've watched the first 10 of these questions, then when we did them, like a year or two ago, I had a co-host, the Fat Angry Gay, and we covered the first 10 of these 25 questions. But, I'm not sufficiently happy with the quality of those two videos. They're far too long, and I was being interrupted a lot. There's a lot of crinkling and noises and stuff like that because somebody can't not wrinkle plastic in front of the microphone. There's many reasons why he isn't my co-host anymore. But that aside, so if you've already watched that, you're going to see some of the same answers said differently, so that's cool. But then, there was another 10 questions I didn't cover, but then he did another 5 the other month, so here's 25 really stupid questions for atheists, and I'm going to answer them all and rejoice so we could laugh at these stupid questions, and then we can all come together in the healing, cleansing light of our Lord Sir David Attenborough as he brings us forth into the promised land, away from false gods, and into the truism that is nature. Anyway, let's get this shit started, and I'll stop rambling so I don't have to animate anymore.
The worldview discussions space can be so combative. Moreover, I've never ever been an atheist, and I'm completely aware this is going to sound smug, even though I don't mean it that way. But the reality is, I think I understand the arguments for and defenses of atheist positions better than most atheists I know.
12 seconds later.
And I'm probably older than you are, so ease up there, Ace. Everyone's tempted to think they're an expert. And when atheists and Christians come up with lists of questions that they don't think the other side can answer, those questions usually aren't genuine.
What? No.
I've never made a list like that, although I've responded to some. Here, I hope my atheist interlocutors will consider these questions deeply without giving glib answers. These aren't meant to be gotcha questions, though I'm not asking for no reason. I expect you will have answers, and I want to hear what the most sincere among you have to say. With that, here are my 10 questions for atheists.
Oh boy, goody, aren't we all excited? I hope he doesn't get too smug or insincere about anything that he says. I hope that none of these things that aren't supposed to be gotcha questions aren't gotcha questions. And, I hope sincerely that actually one of these questions makes me think hard and not makes me want to give glib answers. Because it's actually made me think, and it's made me respect the person that's given the questions, because I think that they might be asking them in a thoughtful, manner to actually probe the depths of what people believe and think, instead of, I don't know, just sifting through them to find the stupidest answers so I could go, nah, and stuff like that. I hope it is sincere. I truly hope I'm not disappointed.
Oh, it's going to be a great day.
What facts about reality that you and I agree are real facts about the way the world is?
And did that really just how we know the Earth to be banana shaped?
Does your worldview account for, but my Christianity doesn't account for, or at least doesn't account for well? And for those of you that would point out atheism isn't a worldview, I'm talking about your worldview that includes atheism. I can't think of any.
What? No. Really? None? I never would have guessed. I never would have guessed that the upper zone ass Christian. Oh, there's nothing. Color me shocked, surprised, aghast. The motions, they're running through me. I don't know how to bring them to a center to explain exactly how flabbergasted I am by all of this. It's just too much. I don't know what... Help! Somebody help me! He doesn't think there's any help! Something like that.
Christianity accounts for evil, suffering, the existence of other religions, including supernatural events in those other religions, science, and differences among different denominations of Christianity.
I mean, to be fair,
Oh, to be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair.
Oh, to be fair. You did also say, well, and just because you find it that the answers from your religion about, oh, the demons and the devil make the other religions happen and the other religious experiences, or they just don't understand that it's our God and not theirs. They're not satisfactory answers. And like, we account for our evil by God letting someone who's stronger than him because he can change his plan, do all the things. It's not a satisfactory answer. But, he said it, so it must be a satisfactory answer because he agrees with it, right? And he's oh so very astute about such things. So very astute.
But I can think of many things that the most common worldviews that include atheism don't answer as well as I think Christianity does.
Did you notice that sneaky I think in there, though?
Don't answer as well as I think Christianity does.
See, that's a key word in the sentence, right? It doesn't mean that it doesn't answer things as adequately as your religion does. It means that this smooth-brained idiot thinks that it doesn't answer them as well, right? So, like, whatever, it doesn't convince him. I'm sure that my mind will be changed instantly.
Like universal supernatural claims, universal religious experiences, free will, morality, near-death experiences, beauty, the rapid expansion of the early church, the events surrounding the life and death of Jesus of Nazareth, and our shared longing for purpose and meaning. So what is it that Christianity doesn't answer as well as your worldview?
Whoa! Whoa there, Sally. You best settle down that gish gallop so I can stop riding that horse and I can just step off there a minute. Fucking hell, no wonder responding to this the first time took so fucking long. Okay, maybe it all wasn't the fat angry gay's fault. Maybe also it was this bald smooth-brained idiot's fault. I know I'm not supposed to do the ad hominem attacks, but I so thoroughly despise this smug man. Right, so let's get through all of these first, right? Let's get through all of these first, and I'll give you the one thing that I actually think it has that, because so first and foremost, I don't think, because he started the question by saying, actually, what things that we agree on, I don't think, considering that the fundamentals of the universe we completely disagree on, and what those fundamentals mean for the purpose and forward motion of the rest of the universe is fundamentally different at every step of the way, so we don't actually agree on much, and we can't actually agree on much in that way. And because of that, this question is very disingenuous, and he knows that. That's why he's asking it. If he thought that it wasn't a loaded question, right? That's why he's going, well, I think this and I think that, because the whole question's loaded. It's about what he thinks. It's not what actually is or what may be. I know he goes, well, it's what, I care about what you think, but actually, he's putting it through the prism of his fucking intellect, and he knows better.
Moreover, I've never ever been an atheist, and I'm completely aware this is going to sound smug, even though I don't mean it that way. But the reality is, I think I understand the arguments for and defenses of atheist positions better than most atheists I know.
12 seconds later.
And I'm probably older than you are. So, ease up there, Ace. Everyone's tempted to think they're an expert.
Right? So, universal supernatural claims. What? Person sees a ghost. They were haunted by a lich. That woman in the entity got raped by the samurai ghost. Are those things included? You see the moving shadow, the shade. It is the ghoul, the ghast, the goblins. Bigfoot, ghoul, the ghast, the goblins. Bigfoot, goblins. Bigfoot, goblins. Bigfoot, goblins. Bigfoot. Whatever supernatural being it might be, right? God had a demon do it, or the devil, or whatever, to try and lure you into some occult bullshit, right? Like, no. People just want to believe things, I don't know. Could it have something to do with the selected breeding of thousands of years of...
You believe in God? No. Dead. You believe in God? Yes. You believe in my God? No. Dead. My God has a bigger dick than your God.
You know, stone them, whatever death is associated at that particular time with not believing in their God. You know, that sort of has an effect on the genetic structure and the ability, not just the ability, the want to believe in, the want to believe in things. Genetic picking will do that amazingly quickly. It's almost like what we do with dogs. I want that dog to be shorter. Like, so I'll breed the shorter dog with the shorter dog, and goes on and on. Universal religious experience is what the demons talk to him, right? Well, if the demons talked to him and they thought it was, and the demons talked to Muhammad and or whatever, and Ganesh is Satan himself, or whatever stupid bullshit you want to say, well, you know, at least they're having religious experiences, which means that it should be pointing to a god, doesn't it? And it's like, no, people can be put through it, be made to believe in these religious experiences through brainwashing, you know, from a young age, from being in a society that says that this is the only thing you can worship, and if you don't, bad things will happen to you, like ostracification from your family, your friends, and all this different, you know, and depending on how bad it is, you know, you might not even be able to shop in shops.
Thank you for being Christ-like and not just Christian.
Like, priming through music, chanting, religious services, religious practices, will therefore reinforce the idea that you should be having these things, and your brain can make them happen. It's such a fun thing. I guess it doesn't convince him as much, because if it was that for them, then it could also be that for his side. So you have to just automatically say, no, they're definitely having some kind of, for both of them, you're definitely having some kind of supernatural experience, so it must be God, right? It could be no other answer. Or free will, God gives us free will. I know that God says, hey, by the way, I have a plan, and you're going to all do what I say. And I know you're all going to do this. I know the Old Testament's wishy-washy on that. But we say now that definitely God has a plan, and you could choose to follow it or choose not to follow it. So God gives you free will, even though he knows how it's going to end. Even though that, so yeah, free will. Even though the idea of free will is kind of ludicrous. Like, everybody kind of gets free will wrong. Everybody thinks that it's just this intuitive thing that humans just have because they're special. And it's like, no, it's called sentience. Sentience is free will. Your body makes animals think and act on instinctual manners. Except for when they start gaining sentience, because they become smarter. They can choose to do stuff. They can choose to ignore their body's instincts that would make a body usually do a thing. We could choose not to do that. We could choose to do a thing because we understand greater concepts, because we have language. Language gives us free will, not God. Even then, it doesn't really give us free will. Our subconscious rules everything we do. Our conscious thought just thinks that we control it because it's what we're thinking with, when really most of our brain power works in a subconscious way to telling you what you see, you hear, and all this shit. And then you work off that. So it's not free will. It's like a little of this and a little of that. You get a little free will, you get a little not free will. But nobody wants to look at what things really are, because I've made battle lines in the sand, goddammit. Near-death experiences. Motherfucker, I am sick the fuck of hearing religious motherfuckers and hippies and shit like that go, I did DMT and I saw God or the aliens and whatever. It's like, you motherfucker are tripping. You are tripping balls. And since you are tripping balls, you saw God. When you die, your body floods you with fucking hallucinogens to ease the death process. Your body releases DMT into your body when you die, so you trip balls. And you see things. It's like even the idea that, you see a tunnel. It's because you're literally, your sight is shutting down. It's like a fucking old TV where it go, and then the sight, like, come on. People just like to make little stories about it, and then like to make the near-death more important than, oh my god, I nearly fucking died. It has to have meaning. Instead of, maybe I should take care of myself, or maybe I shouldn't do this thing again, or maybe I should look both ways when I cross the road, or whatever. It should be a learning experience, not a fucking poetry competition about, I saw a thing, and now it all has meaning. Beauty. God made beauty. No. Fucking idiot. Beauty's subjective. Some people find lots of things beautiful. Some people find nothing beautiful. Some people can't understand beauty at all. The idea that God made beauty because God's great, so God must have made beauty is really fucking stupid. People can find beauty in literally anything. Murderers find beauty in murder. So do soldiers. They can see it. Like, not all of them, of course, but, you know, like, the idea that people can't see the good side of anything is silly. So if it must be good, it must be God, is somehow a more satisfying answer than different people are interested in different things, and those interests can accord certain words, because really, without the English word of beauty, or whatever word that it is in your language, what actually is it? It isn't anything except a personal attraction to something, and that's God. God is the glue that makes you like reading books. These books are beautiful. Here's the glue that makes making me hunt Bigfoot. Big feet, you know, whatever. Because Bigfoot is beautiful. Here's the glue that makes making me hunt Bigfoot. No, whatever. Because Bigfoot is beautiful. 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 God is beautiful. You know what I mean. Never mind me. No, don't mind me. Never mind. God made it so. Like, fuck off. Really? The rapid expansion of the church. It was so fast. It was so fast. What? There was like, what, a few million fucking actual Roman people in the entirety of the Roman Empire? It's not like there was lots of people in the world. So when a smaller number of people convert, well, that is a bigger, you know, percentage of the amount of people change. We're like talking about convincing people like 30C, 60C, 100C, 200C, 300C. These people were not the most intelligent people. Because, you know, they hadn't discovered a lot of things yet. And because they thought that God's powered things and God's did stuff, that a lot of the time they didn't actually see the point in, you know, progressing stuff. Because they didn't think they could, because the gods had the power over it. The idea that this rapid expansion of the church doesn't have a mirror in the Islamic expansion of the Islamic church, or like Buddhism and different shit like that is silly. All these big religions had big growth spurts at the beginning. It's not just Christianity. Come on. The events around Jesus, I have one thing to say about that. The closest representation to the life of Jesus is a gospel book that we have in the Bible that was written at least 30 to 40 years later. So I don't know about the truth and veracity of that, considering it's not even the earliest versions we have aren't the earliest versions. And considering, was it Mark has, you know, a whole fucking chapter and a half missed out of, you know, added later on because its ending was too silly to the story it was telling and what the people thought it should be. And considering we know how things have been mistranslated and how things have been added and taken out over the years, well, sorry for not thinking that, I don't know, it's the most truthful thing in the world. But of course, I need to believe because it's my whole life and purpose. So, you know, shared purpose of longing and meaning. Yeah, it's weird how those people that think and have money and see people progress in life and like have goals would want these things when other things in the world don't, because they don't have careers, like they don't have hobbies, you know. They can't go to the movies. Do you know what? I really want to make movies. You know, they don't see a naked hairy man in the forest and go, oh, I'm gonna go searching for Bigfoot. 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 Oh, I'm gonna go. Maybe that's it. Maybe the fact that we developed a language to help pass information to each other actually made it so life wasn't, you know, sitting on a fucking pile of leaves all day hoping that we weren't ate by a fucking leopard. You know what I mean? We could sit in a house and we could think about things, and we could ponder stuff, you know, because we weren't worried about everything. Why do we all have shared purpose? God gave us shared purpose and longing. Yeah. God did that, because humans have never done anything for ourselves. Every time we make it better, it's just God. That's why God accounts for science better than we do. What do I think that we can agree on? That we prove better than you? It's the truth, my friend. The truth. We don't just look at a book from fucking a couple thousand years ago, and every once in a while, when we find out something new, we don't have to change it and go, well, it's allegory, that bit now. Oh, morality! Let's read through Leviticus and Numbers and go through those laws about what happens to women, women of war, sex women, you know, sex slaves, you know, the taking off the nails and the hair, you know, because you invaded a country, you genocided them, you saw the woman that you really wanted to put your dick in and waggle it around a whittle until the cummies came out. You saw her and you went, oh, look at those tatas. And then, you know, you took her after you've murdered her family, of course, and her oxes and her goats and her chickens and her mother and her dad and her sons and her daughters and her uncles and her aunts and, you know, everyone, her friends. You know, the butcher, the baker, the everyone. You murdered them all. But you wanted her, so then you take off her nails, like you take her nails off, right? And you take her hair and you leave her in a room for a month, and then she's yours. Morality, my friend. That's what your morality says. Mine says that you shouldn't do that, because that's bad. That's really, really bad. That's like horrifically bad. Also, mine says that you shouldn't put people into slavery. And your book says lots and lots about slavery. It's not chattel slavery. It's still fucking slavery, my friend. Go suck a dick. So what do we give that's better than these fucks? Truth. Why do we do truth better? Because we can change our minds. When things change and then slavery becomes bad, we don't go, hey, actually, those bits of the Bible, they aren't the same kinds of slavery. They aren't this, they aren't that. We don't have to make excuses for it. We just go, no, slavery's bad. When we find out new things, oh, actually, it isn't phlogiston that is in the air. It's actually oxygen. We go, hooray, we know something new. That's what we do. That's what truth does. It lets you progress. It lets you find out things. And, like, it lets you see things clearer and lets you think clearer. And when you have the truth, and you know the truth, you're not going to let charlatan assholes like this try and mislead you and try and fucking question wrangle you into believing his shit because he thinks he's got special gotcha questions. We can ask actual gotcha questions because those gotcha questions include all the facts to back them up, all the studies to back them up, and we could go, hey, none of this is in your fucking Bible. It's not even a gotcha question. It was literally just a simple science question in a high school textbook. I guess it's that. I guess that's why they don't like schools, and we had to have Trump get rid of the Department of Education, because people can't have people know things.
If your definition of atheism is merely that it's a lack of belief in God, and you're just waiting to be convinced, but then you speak of him as though he's in some way synonymous with Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, or fairies, doesn't that at least send the message to your listeners that you actually believe that there is no God? After all, these are entities and beings that you likely believe do not exist. And if your response is that you merely lack a belief in Santa Claus and don't actively believe that he does not exist, doesn't that sound a little disingenuous, honestly?
Oh, the sass on this one. Oh, he's got the head wiggle and everything. He really doesn't like you saying this. So you should say it more just to annoy him personally. Why not? If I held this position, I still wouldn't give a shit. Because, like, I don't care if it hurts your widow feelings. Yet I'm treating your God like a fairy tale. I don't give a flying fuck. Right? But considering that I only think the only kind of God that could possibly exist is a deistic God, or like a kind of a deistic God where like either he exists or the universe exists because it takes all power to create all everything. You know, that's the only kind of God I could I believe might exist. I think yours is 100% bunk, and I could probably easily prove it. A lot of people can. But you know, I'm not going to do that here, because I spent long enough on the first one, and I already said I wanted to make this short. Maybe not, 2 hours like the last time, but I can see why it might have been. Well, that first fucking question took ages, so I was hoping to get through all 5 in a more concise manner, but he had to gish out through lots of things that I had to explain through. And, Because, you know, whatever. I'm just, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Boy, I sure do hate this guy. Maybe I should do Frank Turk videos. That'll be fun. I'll give you an anger. I hate that fuck. Well, see ya.